Department of Homeland Security and investigating agency FBI are concerned about possible retaliatory attacks after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally. The agencies expressed apprehensions that violent extremists or others may attempt follow-on or retaliatory acts of violence in response to the Trump rally shooting. In a 4-page bulletin released by the agencies, even though no specific targets were mentioned, it was underlined that the extremists have carried out or plotted attacks against political or ideological rivals in the past. The bulletin said that, quote, individuals in some online communities have threatened, encouraged, or referenced acts of violence in response to the attempted assassination. The authorities have cautioned and raised these concerns amid heightened threat environment and a sharp political polarization in the country. While the Republicans have formally nominated Trump as their presidential candidate in Milwaukee, preparations are underway for the Democratic National Convention in Chicago next month. The FBI and the Homeland Security Department said that the Pennsylvania attack reinforced their assessment that election-related targets are under heightened threat of attack. Meanwhile, federal and state law enforcement agencies have intensified efforts to avert political violence and lone wolf attacks against elected officials, government officials, candidates, law enforcement, and the media as well. The Justice Department also has pledged to tirelessly clamp down on threats against poll workers and resources. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Adele Nazarian, Senior Media Fellow at the Gold Institute for International Strategy. She's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Adele, lovely to see you, and thank you so much for joining us on WION. So the question that many are asking, not only here in the United States, but internationally as well, how do you view the U.S. politics progressing from here on out, notably regarding the U.S. election?
Suzanne, great to be on with you again, as always. I think that it's going to continue to debilitate into division, that, as you said, that there may be retaliatory attacks. I don't see the violence, unfortunately, and attempts against or on Donald Trump's life subsiding. I see these polarized groups, the Antifas, the anarchists, if you want to call them that, the progressive left, and the far-right elements going head-to-head at a greater speed. But I do think that what this does is it gives, frankly, the middle undecided voters a better view as to what party is going to be better for their future. And I think a lot of the undecided voters in the middle are actually going to get to the ballot boxes, perhaps in an unprecedented way that we've seen in recent years, and to cast their votes. I feel like having Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s in the race also may actually tilt things in Donald Trump's direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really interesting. We did hear reports, we didn't hear anything about it, that RFK Jr. was in talks with the Trump campaign, possibly endorsing the former president. We'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Adele, I can't help but ask you about the two vice presidential candidates going into 2024, Kamala Harris and J.D. Vance. What are you expecting to see during that televised debate?
There's so much going on here. It's amazing. First of all, they can complain about Donald Trump's age. I mean, he is as sharp as a tack, as sharp as as they get for his age, even compared to President Biden, unfortunately. J.D. Vance is significantly younger. But I have to say, in a head-to-head competition between him and Kamala Harris, I think he steals the show. He has a very impressive background himself. He was a former Marine, U.S. Marine. Talk about having, structure and being committed, loyalty. That's one for one, which obviously Trump was looking for. And he also has made history not only by being the first U.S. Marine formerly to be elected for the position of vice president as a running mate, but also he's a millennial, first millennial ever. And I think that he brings to the table really the ability to resonate with everyday Americans, the working class, right? The working class, the people whose voices have for so long been honestly looked over and overlooked. And unfortunately, I don't think that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, has the same ability. She's fantastic at connecting with, Black American voters, with, Hispanics and different, ethnic groups. But I feel that a lot of everyday Americans also who are, white Americans feel like they're being left out. And JD Vance is coming in to let them know you haven't been forgotten. And we're here to also represent you. Represent everyone. I mean, if you look at the convention that occurred yesterday, there was such a diverse audience of people in attendance at the Republican convention. And even, I believe it was the person who was the head of the log cabin Republicans posted that LGBTQ inclusivity has now been included in the Republican platform because of Donald Trump. So he's a president for everyone. And JD Vance is definitely there to enhance and to add to that. And I think it can only stand to benefit him, especially when it comes to dictum. He's a great orator, great speaker, has a great way of using stories and analogies to capture the audience. I think that's something that Kamala Harris, unfortunately, doesn't have the greatest strength in. So it'll be interesting to see how the debate goes between the two of them. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. Adele, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for that analysis, and let's speak again very soon.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.